internet world, I am David.
And I'm Travis.
And we're the game detectives.
Now, at this time of year, it's getting kind of cold and sad, and we want to look back on the summertime, especially the warm beaches. Now, there's a lot of beaches in gaming, but nothing beats Isle Delfino.
That's right. For today's investigation, we're going to be looking at Super Mario Sunshine. What first caught my attention about the game was the cutscene in the beginning, which was extremely different compared to the short opening of Super Mario 64. Mario and Peach are going to Isle Delfino for a vacation when disaster strikes and Shadow Mario takes Peach away. This first cutscene was nice and short and got Mario involved in the action within the first couple of minutes.
It turns out this guy that looks like Mario is doing some naughty things, so you need to clean up in order to clear your name. It's a fun concept to have Mario prove he's a hero, and provides a nice twist to the beginning of the title. Usually, all the NPCs are automatically nice to you, but this time around you have to gain their trust, which makes the Piantas seem much more developed, as opposed to the Toads of the past that have blindly followed you.
In fact, characterization, which has never been Nintendo's strong suit, plays a big role in the game. The game introduces the Piantas, human-shaped beings who have palm trees growing out of their heads, and Nokis, animals that live in shells. These two species show up a lot in the game, have a wide range of personalities, and help make the world seem dynamic and engaging. Some of these species are willing to help Mario, while others either throw him in jail or literally across the screen. By giving each individual NPC a temperament, the game builds a more engaging world.
These two species fit perfectly with the beach theme, and the best parts of Super Mario Sunshine build off that theme, particularly in level design. The strongest levels are those that build upon a beach environment, but give it that Mario twist.
Delfino Plaza is a fantastic overworld with lots to do and see. There are 17 shine sprites in the hub world, encouraging players to look everywhere for these objects. There are also warp pipes, piantas, secret levels, and coins in every nook and cranny. And Delfino Plaza features a lot of sun, surf, and sand that sticks with the theme of the island paradise very well. It serves as a better hub world than Princess Peach's castle from Super Mario 64, because there's a lot more to do, and it feels like an actual place in the world.
A lot of the levels build off of strong themes. Pinna Park focuses on a seaside amusement park, Noki Bay has a great waterfall setting, and Pianta Village utilizes a lot of the Pianta characters in a fun way that really adds to the environment of an actual stage. But the best of all the levels might be Rico Harbor, because it utilizes a lot of unique elements that you might find at an actual harbor, such as boats, rigging tubes, pipes, and, well, the occasional giant squid.
But I think some of the levels aren't really that creative. Bianco Hills is a pretty boring first level, and there's no centerpiece to it that really makes it stick out at all. Similarly, Gelato Beach is pretty much just a beach, with nothing interesting going on besides some enemies. It feels empty, even though it has some other characters. Serena Beach works better because it has the hotel, which serves as the focal point of that level.
But what makes Super Mario Sunshine really stand out from Super Mario 64 is Flood. Flood is a robot that helps Mario with platforming by allowing him to float for a while using water jets. It can also spray things with water, act as a rocket, or propel Mario forward. Mario's new pal expands the possibilities of platforming by letting the developers make different kinds of puzzles.
But a lot of these puzzles can get pretty repetitive. Sometimes the puzzles can just be reduced to squirt water on this, or use Flood to hover over here. But Flood does help out with some basic platforming and traversing around the landscape. Just experimenting with what heights you can jump to is fun, and playing around with all the different nozzles can actually be pretty enjoyable for a while.
While some might claim that Flood is simply another gimmick, we believe that it's a gimmick that works because it builds off of Super Mario 64. You can still wall jump, triple jump, and most of the fun stuff minus the long jump, but now you can add Flood to some pretty cool new moves. For example, you can do a spinning jump that sprays water, or do a new flip attack.
But sometimes the different nozzles for Flood don't work outside of specific contexts. The turbo nozzle is fun for running across water, but you can't really do much else with it. The rocket nozzle helps you explore higher places, which aids in some exploration, but doesn't serve a purpose beyond that. The float nozzle can help with platforming, and it actually works pretty well in some instances.
But they're so context sensitive that they aren't very immersive. and you can only have one nozzle add-on at a time, severely limiting ways in which they could interact with one another. Imagine the platforming puzzles that could have been made combining the different nozzles.
When you find some secret areas that take away FLUDD, it can come as a shock just how much the game is different without it. In these platforming sections, Shadow Mario steals FLUDD so you can no longer use it, forcing you to use your classic platforming skills. Most of these sections serve as a welcome challenge to what is a pretty easy platforming game in general. If you want to reminisce on the ways of old-time 3D platforming, these are the sections for you.
I especially like the primary colors and the simple a cappella cover of the Mario theme, which reflect the simplistic design of the levels. The only problem with these platforming sections is they take you out of the world in that secret area that it's located in. So 1 second you're in Pianta Village, and the next you're in a completely different section that does not relate to the level in any single way. This cuts the platforming sections off from the rest of the world, making them less meaningful.
Additionally, in each level, there's a Chase Shadow Mario sequence that are extremely repetitive and dull. Like with so many games, there's only so many times you can do the same thing over and over and over and over again before it just gets annoying. Shadow Mario isn't a very compelling character, and he overstays his welcome by butting into your journey world after world.
In fact, repetition is one of the main problems of Super Mario Sunshine. Each world has 2 red coin missions and the 100 coin challenges as well. Add in the platforming sections and the Shadow Mario Chase challenges, and there are at most 5 unique shines per level. And some of them are boss battles. Because so many shines come from so much of the same stuff, the worlds aren't as developed as they could be.
Speaking of boss fights, let's just get right down to it. The Mario series isn't necessarily known for its challenging bosses. After all, in most early games, you just had to sneak past Bowser to get an axe, destroy his bridge, and boil him alive in hot magma. But the bosses in Super Mario Sunshine may have set a new low bar for the series.
Almost all the bosses in the game are boring, repetitive, and easy. Petey Piranha shows up twice and somehow manages to become even more annoying when he gains the ability to fly. The Gooper Blooper is the final boss in 3 episodes. Monty Mole shows up twice. How many times is it going to take to finally get rid of these guys?
My personal least favorite boss fight is the Phantom Manta, because it's the longest boss fight in the game, and it doesn't actually attack you until halfway through. It just multiplies, making you chase after every single last bit of manta ray goo before you can finally get the shine sprite. It has an interesting concept to it, but the Phantom Manta boss fight is just so passive until halfway through that it doesn't actually seem all that engaging.
But some boss fights can be fun. The Mecha Bowser fight works well because it incorporates the theme park layout of the level and is actually fun to operate, even though the controls can be a little shaky. Additionally, the King Boo boss fight can be fun because of the Casino Reel concept and the throwing fruit to defeat the Boo, which had never been done before.
But we all know the actual worst boss fight in Super Mario Sunshine. Bowser, the ultimate villain of the series, the sworn enemy of Mario, and all that is good and holy in the world, has the easiest boss fight in the game. You ground pound 5 areas, and Bowser is gone, just like that. He never fights you head on. He basically does nothing but sit in a puke green hot tub. What more can you say about this boss fight that hasn't already been said online?
And just like the final fight, getting to Bowser is way too easy as well. The mission structure doesn't really work in this game because you only need to get the first 7 shines in each level in order to reach the final boss. For comparison, Super Mario 64 required you to have 70 stars before your final showdown with Bowser. In Super Mario Sunshine, you only need 38 out of the 120 shines to reach the final boss and finish the game.
At the end of the day, it's just a really easy game to beat, especially if you've played Super Mario 64 before. Even though it has a lot of charm and has some good platforming puzzles, it's one of the easiest Mario games in existence. So that means all the praise we gave for how much there is to do in Delfino Plaza is now moot, along with many other elements of the game so far, as there is absolutely no reason to do anything or explore, since you just need to go from level to level and do the first 7 missions.
Imagine if a Zelda game had 3 extra dungeons, but no real incentive to actually explore them in the end. I really like the setting and level design of Super Mario Sunshine, but the puzzles and some of the Shine Sprite locations could have been more refined and more challenging to give seasoned players more to work with. While I do think it's important to make it accessible to newcomers, Super Mario Sunshine should have had a lot more difficulty. At the end of the day, the inherent flaws in how the game is structured hurts what is actually a very good game. And that's our thoughts on Super Mario Sunshine. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Let us know in the comments.
And we have one more question for you loyal informants at home. Do you want to go to the beach with us? Make sure to bring some sunscreen.